What's up guys, it's They Coming, and today I have a great guest on my channel, Klaus from Klaus Gaming. Klaus, why don't you say what's up?
What's going on, guys? And guys, just thank you so much for coming over to the Cummings channel. A lot of y'all probably discovered him through me, so you guys are amazing and some of my favorite fans of all time, just saying.
Yes, thank you very much for visiting over here if you discovered through his channel. Today guys, we're going to be looking at how to increase your 3-star rating in competitive wars, and you are going to be listening to two CWL competitors speak on this topic, so hopefully you will glean some excellent information from us today. So why don't we start with the standards, Klaus?
Yeah, sure, come on, let's go.
Alright, so the first thing that I have on my list here would be to practice daily. Just the more that you're playing the game, the more that you're practicing with certain troops and compositions, the better that you're going to learn to use them. And not only playing, with one composition, but multiple strategies. And for competitive wars, Klaus, I really do feel like you gotta have several strategies in your tool belt. So, Klaus, do you want to touch on that just a bit? I know that maybe you are planning on filming another video with me later this week about that topic.
Yes, exactly. So, guys, one of the major things you want to do is, first of all, understand that it's not just 1, 2, 3. Golems, wizards, kill squad. It's not like that. It starts out that way, but then as you play, it becomes more about your experience. It becomes intuition. You gain a little more wisdom on choosing your attack strategies based on the base design. So knowing a good, 3, 4, 5, maybe even up to 6 or 7 different tried and true good strategies for base, to dissecting a base and hitting is a big part of becoming a 3-star attacker. And TC and I are going to be doing a video just kind of covering some of our favorite war strategies on my channel, so be sure and check that out.
And I can't wait for that, Klaus. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to film. So I think the next thing, like after you practice, right? Obviously, you're going to need to play the game a lot, and you're going to need to play it in a lot of different ways. But how do you really get there? Like, how do you know what's good? And that really leads me into my second point here, and that would be you need to watch war-focused YouTube channels for CWL clans. And I know that some of them, they may not be as exciting as other more pure entertainment channels, but really, to me, it comes down to how serious you really are about 3-starring consistently. And if that's something that you're really serious about, I really feel that you're going to enjoy those channels quite a bit. So Klaus, what are your favorite war-centered channels?
Well, you don't want to just be watching some goon, you don't if you don't know who they are, then you're gonna have to watch them and figure out who they are. So what I like to start out with, guys, is what clan are they in? Are they in a random clan, or are they in a CWL clan? And it's not a end all be all. If you're not in CWL, it doesn't mean you're what I said a minute ago, a goon. That is not exactly true. But what is a good start for you in your as you look for war content on YouTube is look at the CWL invite clans. Who is covering CWL invite, Premier, Rising, and Light. Who's covering that type of information. And a lot of good, tried and true big channels like Powerbang Gaming is probably the first thing that comes to a lot of our minds. Jake from One Hive Raids is also kind of getting back into the groove of things after taking a hiatus. So those are the more popular choices, but there's also a lot of streamers that cover these CWL war live, and you guys can watch the attacks unfold live. And two that come to my mind immediately are Scotoria and Adam. There's also smaller YouTube channels like Clash Attacks with Joe. That's excellent. And of course, we can't forget They Coming to Clash, which is covering Boston Tea Party's videos, Boston Tea Party's wars, and then myself as I cover a few. So I mean, there's a lot out there. That's a good start. But there's definitely a heck of a lot more out there. And if I didn't mention you and you happen to be watching, no, I didn't mean to offend anybody, but those are just the first that popped into my head.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out a few that you didn't mention myself, because I really, really love watching a channel called Brutal Raids. He's actually the guy who took over for Jake from One Hive after Jake sort of went on his extended hiatus last year, and he has some really great war content, and he's really great about breaking bases down and really giving you sort of the extended thought process behind some really high quality raids, Town Hall 9 and Town Hall 10. Also, in the same vein, I'd say Snip Attacks. Snip Attacks, he's with the War Whales. Snip does some excellent attack breakdown, and also showcases just a lot of like live raids, and he's a pretty funny guy. I mean, he really messes around, and he shows off some really interesting sort of hybrid strategies on his channel. And finally, I guess one more, and this is to kind of go with what you were saying, Klaus. Clash with Ed, he's not in a CWL clan. He's part of In the Dark, and if you're 18 and up, right, you should go watch Clash with Ed's channel. He does a lot of 11v11 stuff, and it's just some absolutely nasty 11v11 action in their wars. Really, I think some of the best in Clash right now, Clash with Ed.
That's so, you're speaking highly for him, man. That's
oh yeah, and he's funny. I really like what I mean. It's the best combination. Like, he's super funny, and his content's just great. I mean, he's got some beasts in his clan just doing work. So, anyways, let's move on. The next standard of our sort of how to increase your 3-star rating would be to find a mentor in your clan. You know, you want to find someone who's better than you are at playing the game, and you want to learn everything that you can from them. And at least from my perspective, it might be great to have multiple mentors. You know, maybe one guy in your clan is a beast at Lalo, and the other guy is really great with like queen charges. So Klaus, at Boston, have you found that you have a few go-to guys that help you with, you know, learning new stuff or planning important hits?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. So it starts out by what Town Hall level you are and what your interests are. So I've got a Town Hall 9 and I've got a Town Hall 10. So my mentors are some of the hottest Town Hall 9s and some of the hottest Town Hall 10s in our clan, and those that are willing to help me. So for instance, my Town Hall 9 mentors passively, which means I don't go to this guy with help a lot, is the very man himself in this conversation, TC. They Coming is a boss, guys. And you guys know it, but he's a 3-starring machine. He's like 100% still for CWL. So, you know, you want to find some people that, for one, inspire you when you watch the replays. But as far as like a one-on-one conversational helper, I'm going to give 2 special shout-outs to 2 guys in our clan. The first guy is Gronk. He's the current leader of BTP. He's been there since before I showed up. He's a founder. And he's kind of, he's a step ahead of me. He's a max Town Hall 10, I'm a mid-level Town Hall 10, and he's right in the middle of figuring out 10v10 3-star, and so that's kind of where I'm headed to. Him and I work together a lot, so it's good to have somebody who's a step ahead of you, that knows where you're at, knows where you've been, and knows where you're going and can help you get there. But then also, as a Town Hall 10, I'm always trying to 2-star Town Hall 11s, and so Cheese Chester happens to be the guy that I go to for that kind of thing. And of course, they're not the only guys that do these kind of things in our clan, and not the only good ones, but Cheese Chester always just kind of hops on, helps me out with these attacks, and he's a boss himself with an amazing success rate with 10v11 2-star. So definitely Gronk, and definitely Cheese Chester for Town Hall 10. Town Hall 9, I said TC, but also there's a boy out there. You know your name, buddy. Squirtle, you're the man.
Squirtle.
I'm just saying, dude,
man.
You're the man. So I've asked him for help on many occasions, and he's been very helpful.
I love me some Squirtle. He's funny. Oh man, I love sitting around planning hits with him. He's so fun to do that with.
Yeah, he's a great guy, dude. So it's all about finding somebody who's a step ahead of you, kind of going in the direction that you want to be, and then just being straight up honest and saying, hey, help me out with this base, or hey, throw up one of your bases and let me hit it, and then tell me what I'm doing wrong or right. You know, it's all about that learning experience, and you've got to fail in order to learn and succeed. That is something that people have to be aware of, is don't be afraid to fail.
Oh yeah, and now that we have friendly challenges, I mean that came just over a year ago. I mean, friendly challenges have really transformed how you can, you know, just improve and receive coaching from inside your clan. I mean, if you have the opportunity to hit your clanmate's base as many times as you want, and that is so huge, because prior to that, you could only hit farming bases, and then in war, you could only hit those bases once. And, I think that now that we have friendly challenges, it's really sort of pushed the competitive community to improve hand over fist.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I remember when, the only way to get war experience besides warring itself was trophy pushing. And I mean, still, a lot of our guys do that. We push up to Titan and Legend League just to, have some strong bases to hit. But at the same time, now we can just say, hey, we put in our clan chat, TH10FC or TH9FC, and then like people will throw their bases at you, and you can practice all day long. So that is definitely a huge part of what's driven the competitive spirit of the Clash of Clans war community right now.
Oh yeah, and to touch just slightly more on that, I'd say the biggest thing that I got out of trophy pushing as a Town Hall 10, I'm not afraid of a Town Hall 11 anymore. I'm not afraid of it, because if you're gonna push, if you're gonna get to Titan, if you're gonna go maybe even as high as Legends, you're gonna hit Town Hall 11s. Otherwise, you will spend hours upon hours upon hours waiting for a base to pop up that's a Town Hall 10. And because 10v11 is so important, now when I look at an Eagle and max defenses, I'm not so afraid. I mean, it's just like, okay, this is what I got to do. I know this is what I need. If I'm doing some kind of queen walk down one side, I know this is how much damage she can take before I need to drop a rage or something like that. That's a big part of the game. So anyways, let's move on. Let's keep this video moving. Next, let's see. So the last standard really is to play to your strong suits when you're in a competitive war. You want to pick your strongest attacks when you actually go into an important war. So don't try to Lalo, for example, for the first time if the war is hinging on you 3-starring. Don't try to queen walk with your low-level queen if the war is hinging on your 3-star attack. You want to pick attacks that you are feeling comfortable with when you go into those important raids. And I would save experimentation personally for less important wars. For example, if the enemy clan looks to be very weak, possibly kind of a farm clan, that's when I would maybe be more comfortable experimenting on a random mid-war week. So Klaus, say you look at your mirror on the war map and you think to yourself, I literally have no idea how to hit this base. What would you do?
Oh, well, I mean, Snip recently put out an amazing video, the most OP strategy in the world, and it was the wall breaker walk, where you literally throw wall breakers at the base and 3-star, and that's kind of what you want to do. Okay, I'm just kidding. You don't want to do that.
That's advanced. I'd say that's quite advanced.
It's very advanced. No, so what you do, guys, and this is something I struggle with all the time because I don't have the time to like learn every new strategy and figure out exactly what to do. So what I have in my arsenal is 3 or 4 key attacks, and I look at a base, and normally one of those strategies fits the hole, fits the key. It's the key to the lock, and that's how you should do it. But if you're at this position, and it's happened to me recently, where I look at a base and I'm supposed to hit it, and I'm like, dude, I have no flipping clue how to hit this. This is a weird base. It's just not going to happen. You have 2 options at that point. You can either pick a different base, which, look through the bases, find one that you're comfortable with, and smash its face. That's always an option. You're more valuable to your clan 3-starring a different base than failing on the base that you're not sure about. So that's definitely the first thing you want to focus on is is there a different base that I can hit? But the other option is, like I did in the latest CWL random match that we had against I don't even remember who they were. Not Cold September, but the other ones. Crap. TC, help me out.
I'm trying to remember as well, but I don't want to open things up right now.
Suomi Cot Cat. That's who they were. And one of the options was I needed to dip this attack, and I looked at the base and it looked insane. And I was like, dude, there's no way. So I actually messaged some of the guys at Knights of Zion that weren't even in the war, but I know they're solid Town Hall 9s, Snow Tiger being one of them. And I just said, hey, get on VC with me. Let's talk through this base and see what we can come up with. And we just kind of looked at the base and, you know, came up with several different angles and finally chose a queen walk go-ho. And that was how it happened. And we ended up grabbing the 3-star with like 3 seconds left on this Town Hall 9 dip just because the base was so stubborn. So, you know, your 2 options are pick a new base or get help, you know, and that's where having mentors comes into play.
And Klaus, that brings us perfectly into the next part here. Now, sort of these next talking points, they really go to the next level, right? You know, the first 4 things, and I'll kind of recap them for us. Practice daily. Watch war-focused YouTube channels. Find a mentor and play to your strong suits when you're in important wars. Those are all the standards, okay? The next level, and he transitioned pretty perfectly there for us, is to use third-party applications for communicating in your clan. And these accomplish so many wonderful goals for your team. Being able to, you know, like he said, VC with a clanmate just to talk over a plan. You know, hey, what do you think would work? You don't have to sit there and type it all out. You can actually have a real conversation with them, and that's really comfortable. Actually, it helps me relax if I can talk to somebody. Also, say there's something serious that happens in your life, like there's an emergency. Oh, you know, I got to take my dog to the vet. I have to attack later, guys. Sorry. Or even if, say, no one is online in the game at that time and you really need CC troops, you can even, you know, put a message out on Discord asking for CC troops and people will log into the game to get you those. Because as we all know, a request for CC troops doesn't show up on someone's phone if the game isn't open. So third-party application, man, using Discord or Line or something else, that's really, really important. And Klaus just outlined the significance of that perfectly. And then after you have this third-party application, using voice communication and drawings to plan out your war attacks. Klaus, have you drawn a war attack recently?
Every war, man, every single war. I draw these plans, and that's actually the order I go. I draw the plan first, I show it to somebody, and then they help me out, and sometimes we VC, which I want to clarify, guys, for those of you that are listening, you're not used to the acronym VC, that simply means voice chat. It's like a phone call, but it's anonymous, because, you know, privacy is a big deal. We voice chat with each other all the time. Me and TC, we chatted up, you know, and that's one of the other things about it is you develop a friendship with these guys as well. But man, drawing up the plan really helps because then there's a visual aid with your voice chat with your clanmate. As you mentioned, okay, I'm gonna drop the wizard on this gold mine, and I'm gonna wall break into this wall compartment. There's also a visual aid to help them understand your plan.
Oh yeah, and it helps there be no mistake about which gold mine you're talking about. Because sometimes if you're just speaking through it with somebody, you can say, I'm gonna put the wizard on the gold mine. They might think in their head you're talking about the gold mine beside it, or maybe on a different corner. I know some people, I'm not sure why, but some people interpret 12 o'clock as being the top left face of the base. And I don't see that, Klaus. Have you run into anyone else that thinks like this, that thinks 12 o'clock is a different side than just straight up?
Yeah, I've run into that. I've run into a lot of things. I usually communicate with north, south, east, and west, and there's a lot of people that confuse east and west. So yeah, it's hard, funny. Man. It really is. You've got to basically put like a key on your sketch plan or your drawing on the base for people to understand exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So anyways, let's move down to our next bullet point here. And that is going to be using your clanmates' failed attacks to your advantage. Okay?
Holy
and it
crap.
Sounds awful that a clanmate failed on a base before you, but guys, we know it happens to everyone at some point. You're gonna fail on a base, your friend's gonna fail on a base, and that's fine. But it's what you do with that information. So the first thing that I would say is to consider running a similar attack to theirs and tweaking the plan. And Klaus has mentioned this on his channel, and several other YouTubers have also talked about this particular subject. And this is all based on trap locations, the CC composition that is defending, and other things. And this is only if the plan went pretty darn well, except for maybe the very end. You know, maybe if the attack gets around 78, 80% of the base, and it was just the issue of maybe one misplaced spell or a miss loon or miss hound or something like that, that would make the difference. Also, if you can talk to that person that hit before you, that's going to help you out a lot too, because like I said, if the plan was solid but the execution wasn't perfect, just see what he or she would have done differently if they had a second chance. So Klaus, how are you as a cleanup attacker?
I would say I'm a pretty good cleanup attacker, and that's just because I do the things you just mentioned. You know, I might be above average in attack skill, but I'm not like super OP beast. The reason why I'm able to do cleanup attacks so well is because I use every bit of information I can get, plus extra information if I can communicate with the person that attacked before. So for instance, the other day I hit a base that got a 99% 2-star. And as I watched the replay, I noticed, oh, he forgot a corner hut archer. That was all that the attack needed. So I basically copied the entire attack, word for word, piece by piece, tile by tile, and ended up with a 3-star in 2 minutes just because the troops didn't have to run across the map to grab that builder's hut. So, you know, all the information available to you is absolutely priceless.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely so. Definitely so. And let's move on to our final 2 talking points, Klaus. Let's wrap this video up pretty shortly. I think we're over 20 minutes at this point. Wow. So here we go. I'd say focusing on a certain vein or family of attacks for a while, be it ground or air, this is going to be really important for increasing your consistency. So say for a few consecutive wars, you've decided, okay, right now I'm real hot on this style, like using a queen walk or a queen charge, or I'm really hot on using stoned hobo or something of this nature. This is going to help you improve your 3-star hit rate, because you're just getting used to it. You're really, you know, learning to fine tune it. You're understanding how to course correct if something goes wrong. And you kind of have to look at it as, you know, how you transition out of your previous Town Hall into your new Town Hall as well. At the end of Town Hall 8, you're really comfortable using Hog Riders. Well, at the beginning of Town Hall 9, you should still be comfortable using Hog Riders. So if you work with Hogs to begin with and sort of use, you know, your improving laboratory upgrades and Royals to then sort of shift into other attacks, that's going to help you out a lot. So, Klaus, how was the beginning of Town Hall 9 for you?
Perfect timing, man. With my new Town Hall 9, the Let's Play is on episode number 14 or something of that nature, and I'm in the middle of like early stage Town Hall 9, and seriously, Hogs were my absolute best friend. There's a lot of people out there that don't believe in Hogs, but believe me, guys, you can 3-star any early Town Hall 9 with Hogs. Just simply put, I'm going to leave it at that. If you stick with what you're good with, like TC laid it out perfectly, there's not much else to add. Hog Riders.
Oh yeah. Early Town Hall 9, Hogs. You know, as you get a little bit deeper into Town Hall 9, you can start to do the air thing, but man, Hogs are going to wreck low-level Town Hall 9s. Oh boy, you just got to kill that queen, right?
Yeah, the queen and the CC, depending on what's in there.
Yeah. And then to our final talking point, Klaus, and where we're going to wrap it up after this, and I think this is super, super important, and we're kind of on the early Town Hall 9 kick right now. As you get sort of out of the early Town Hall 9 phase, sort of into mid Town Hall 9, I would suggest queen walking everything while you farm. Literally everything. It's what I did right when my queen got about level 15. I literally queen walked until she was 30, okay, during my farming raids. Because the Archer Queen is such an important piece of your offense for a good Town Hall 9 player. If you are just 100% comfortable walking her or charging her into a base with rage spells, you're going to be an absolute unstoppable monster in war, and that's going to benefit you in Town Hall 10. Klaus, what do you think about that? Well,
that's exactly what I did too, man. I mean, if you watch the farming playlist, I've got like 100 videos and 89 of them are probably queen walks. So that's just how it is. Like mid to late and into Town Hall 10, queen walk is the bomb. And what the best part about that is not only are you going to get loot, but you're also going to practice. And that's the whole point, is that you want to be able to accomplish a good solid queen walk without any question about what to do next, which way she's going to go, how you need to drop your funnels to get your queen to go where you want her to. And that extends all the way into Tunnel 10. I know queen walk at Tunnel 10 is scary as heck, but it's worth it to learn. So I absolutely 100% agree with you. Once your queen gets to about level 15, walk her away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I love the Archer Queen, guys. You've probably seen me do some nasty stuff with her on my channel, but also maybe in some of Klaus's replays. Archer Queen, it's my favorite piece of the Clash of Clans offense, and I don't think that will ever change. So anyways, Klaus, is there anything else that you want to add before we close this video out? Any kind of shout outs?
Besides shouting out those specific clanmates, and of course you for having me on the channel. Thank you, by the way. This has been fun. Guys, I'm sorry that we rambled as long as we did, but it was all hopefully useful information, and I really can't think of anything to add. I mean, we have really we've been very thorough. If I can say, we've been very thorough at this point.
And I wouldn't have it any other way on my channel. You guys know that I like to be thorough when I explain stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Guys, thank you for being here. And if you stayed the whole time, thanks for staying and listening to all of our talk. And I hope that this information will allow you to increase your 3-star rating in your wars. Take care. See you later.